Boom! Welcome to another episode of Thoughts Express TV, where we discuss personal development and self-help. I'm your host, Mick Rob, and I'm joined by my co-host, Annabelle. Today we're going to be discussing low self-esteem. I'm also joined by our producer slash moderator, Ra Hype.
What up, though? It's your boy, Raw Hype. I'm going to be providing the niceties portion of the podcast. There'll be no sympathy on this camera. Thank you.
From his mouth to your ears. All right, so welcome back, Annabelle. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, we're ready to get started speaking on this really important topic. I think it's something that impacts a lot of us, and so just what is your insight on low self-esteem?
Definitely. So low self-esteem is one of those intricate / controversial topics because it has multiple perspectives and everyone sees things a little differently.
Right.
But there are just some general things with regards to low self-esteem that we're gonna delve into tonight. But just to start off, low self-esteem by definition, the most basic definition would be the way in which one perceives and value themselves. It's those negative self-evaluations that we have of ourselves that affects our thoughts and our behaviors as well. So it's definitely a very crucial topic to discuss
and an important one because
important.
a lot of us battle with it like hard.
A lot of people. And the sad thing is that some people are in denial, whereas some people identify what causes their low self-esteem and they try to find a workaround or something to get through or get past that, because it can be very difficult.
Yeah. There's a lot of causes to it, like a lot of things that can trigger it, even from I think a lot of it stems from home.
Definitely.
Or from a young age. So I think it's important to identify why do I feel this way about myself, or at what point did I feel this way about myself.
Definitely. I agree with you, and you made a major point just now when you said it starts from home, because I feel like low self-esteem and confidence building starts from the very early stages of life, and obviously your parents, your teachers, and all of those who you consider to be in authoritative power.
Right.
They basically provide the foundation, or they're responsible for providing the foundation, and that foundation comes through what is said verbally. It comes to actions. Just what the kids are exposed to environmentally, at home. Domestic violence, divorce, being molested. All of those stuff play a key role into how a person feels about themselves. Ultimately, and I think as parents, it's imperative that we spend time to teach our kids how to be confident, and what having high self-esteem is, not just verbally, but obviously
because
through
we can talk
actions.
about us, how we feel, or our at a young adult or an adult or an older adult level, but honestly, think about how many kids we're around every day.
That's the thing.
You have children, I have children, there's listeners out there that have kids. And so just starting there from home, and when I said actions, it made me think of my son takes therapy, developmental therapy. And so the way that whenever let's say he's building something and he it falls, the way that he's encouraged actually helps build his confidence.
Exactly.
Versus maybe other parents, if a kid makes a mistake, then they'll be like, oh, something negative.
Yeah.
And that's that's a natural response for a lot of us because maybe we haven't been taught that.
Exactly.
And then we continue to carry it for so many generations.
Yep.
And so we're at a good spot, do Thoughts Express TV, that's what we're here for, to help each other to understand, to learn, and to grow. To
shed light on these things because like you said, and I'm gonna keep saying this, culture plays a pivotal role in why some people struggle with low self-esteem. For the simple fact that, just like you said a while ago, your son, he should be able to make mistakes and be okay with making those mistakes.
Right.
And knowing that, listen, okay, you failed this time, but failure is pretty much just the acronym for first attempt in learning. So that's why I try to teach my kids, failure doesn't mean you stop.
Right.
You have to get up, brush yourself off, and
develop those problem-solving skills that you're gonna need later on in life. You're gonna need it at all times.
Yeah. So let's get into where low self-esteem really derives from a little deeper, and some of the causes. Like I said, our parents play a very important role in how we feel about ourselves because they're basically our idols. A lot of us try to be like our parents, in whatever way. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. That's why the onus is on us as parents.
Either like consciously or what is it called? Unconsciously, like where you don't
Subconscious.
Yeah, conscious and subconscious.
Yeah. So consciously, sometimes you're like, oh, I admire my parents, but sometimes subconsciously, you don't know that you're admiring them, but that's all you see as a role model.
As a role model.
So then you think that's the next best thing.
That's it. So, I mean, some things that we do as parents is, we tend to compare our kids, for example, and that causes one to feel like they're better than the other or
I've heard
less
that's
inferior.
really common in especially Caribbean cultures.
Definitely common, and a lot of the times what parents don't understand is that even though their intention is not to cause the harm that they ultimately do cause, it's just something that happens naturally, because kids start to internalize things after a time. There's but so many times that you could say something to a child.
Give us an example.
Okay, so for example, telling a child that they're worthless for whatever reason. They may have some habits that, one would look at and say, oh, that's a worthy cause to call them worthless. But you still have to remember,
Like what?
Worthless. Like, for example, you may have a child who doesn't do the chores on time or doesn't pay attention in school or having some issues, for whatever reason.
They're struggling,
yeah. Struggling about something in life, whatever they may have been exposed to that caused them to feel the way or act the way they do. And the correct approach would be to kind of feel them out through like counseling methods, try to mediate them and find out what their thought process is, how, we can assist them in getting over that hurdle. But, sometimes we basically fall into this thing where we just start name calling. You start comparing. If one sibling is doing the right thing and the other sibling is struggling in a particular area, we start to use that other sibling as a comparison, and even though the aim is ultimately to get the
motivate them or
the sibling who's lacking, the aim is to get them to get up to par with the other sibling who's actually doing the right thing. But it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So harsh criticism plays a major role in
now that you're
that low
saying
self-esteem.
that, and I was just thinking that goes back to one of our other episodes that we have, because a lot of the times parents, when I've done that, I've been guilty of doing that, to be honest, not to the extent of maybe other people that are not aware, but out of frustration, sometimes you don't know how to handle that. So a lot of that stems to emotional intelligence.
Correct.
So all of that stems to one thing, because when you were saying that, I have a son that I struggle on certain things with him, and sometimes out of frustration, I've never name called or anything like that, but I will say you're so much better than this, so I'm trying to motivate him to get out of what he's doing, instead of you say finding a root cause.
Yes.
And
definitely.
I'm very transparent and I'm very open about situations, and that's what we're here for, because we're all dealing with different things on different levels.
That's true.
So
Totally agree with that.
what do you do when the gentle parenting doesn't work, when it's not effective? I know as a man, yeah, for sure. Now, I say it.
I say you pop them.
That's right. That's right.
Or you discipline them, sometimes.
So, of course, the next question is, oh, you can't do that. You can't pop your kids. You can't beat them anymore. You can't spare the rod. You can't use the rod anymore.
Okay, so to answer your question and not stray too far from it, your question was, what do you do when whatever you try seems to be
gentle parenting.
Gentle parenting is ineffective.
Oh, time out, Timmy. That's not gonna. We're tired of you destroying the furniture and going crazy and flipping over stuff. We've told you 20 times. You took away your toys, Mr. Timmy. What do you do now?
All right,
Timmy
so
said, "F you, Dad," because
So
you know how
listen.
it sounds.
listen. The Bible says, grow a child in the way, or raise a child in the way he should grow, that when he gets old, they won't depart from it. Now, I use that quote to say this. There's some instances, of course, where, the parents take all the right steps, or all the steps that they think is right, and the child still gets influenced by external factors and become totally wayward.
What type of external factors?
It could be school. It could be just following the wrong friends. It could be just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Whatever the case is, whatever influence they attach to themselves, because sometimes kids go out there and they make friends totally opposite of what you would want them to be, engage with, and certain things you have no control over as a parent, but I feel like once you have the right structure in place, it's almost inevitable that they're gonna end up doing the right thing. So back to your gentle parenting.
To that structure.
Yeah, getting to that structure. So some people's concept of gentle parenting is spoiling. My concept of gentle parenting is balance. So discipline to an extent and leisure to an extent, because you have to have the balance. You can't just be discipline all the time. But once you enforce those disciplines, I think it's almost inevitable.
And my concept is supporting, like being supportive and understanding, and mostly understanding, because sometimes we have to get to their level. Like I tell my kids, I understand, like you're going through that, and I can relate. I can understand you because I was a teen. I've been a teen. I understand where you're coming from, and it's okay to make mistakes, but I'm here for you. And so we don't want to steer too deep into that, but that's part of it.
And that's a good point, because what that shows is you have a dialectical way of thinking. You're looking at things from multiple perspectives and putting yourself in their shoes. A lot of times we as parents, we forgot we were once kids. Yeah. So we expect this perfection from our kids, and it's just non-existent.
And in life, you're gonna make mistakes.
You're gonna make mistakes.
So understanding that you're gonna make a mistake, some mistakes you cannot, you cannot fix. Some mistakes will land you in jail or, murder or things like that. But a lot of the mistakes we can fix.
Definitely.
They're work outable and you can fix them, and that does not define you. So I feel like that helps my kids be in a position where their self-esteem is a little bit more elevated than mine.
Definitely.
Because I've grown in that area, and like I tell them, like my purpose is for you to be a better.
Definitely.
And be able to go out in society and be on that level, and just having these understandings. But it's important to realize like where you are, where you come from, what affects us, what affects others, and then try and make it happen.
Definitely.